gave you one question to solve, no? Did you solve that question? I'll discuss that question also with you. Don't worry, okay, no? We'll discuss that question. Come on. That was question number 5. Did you solve that question? Easy, easy. Unit 2. Okay. Illustration number 5. Ganesh has a house property. How many properties he has? 1 or 2? 1. Whose municipal valuation is 2,50,000 per annum. Their rent is 2 lakh per annum. Standard rent fixed by the Rent Control Act is 2,10,000 per annum. So municipal value given, fair rent given, standard rent given. Okay. Will you be able to calculate expected rent? Yes, but no need to calculate that. Why? Because no. We'll calculate because the property is let out. What is the status of property? Let out property. Yes or no? So 2,50,000 or 2 lakhs, whichever is higher. So higher amount is 2,50,000. Now 2,50,000 will be compared with 2,10,000, whichever is lower. So what will be the expected rent? Expected rent, everyone got 2,10,000. Now it was let out for a monthly rent of 20,000 per month. 20,000 per month. So monthly rent 20,000 multiplied by how many months? 10 months. Why? Because the tenant vacated the property on 31st January 2026, meaning that the property is vacant for February and March. It could not be let out for February or March. So from April to January. April to how many months? 10 months. The property was let out. So the rent for the let out period will be how much? 20,000 into 10 months. So your actual rent will be 2 lakhs. Now comparing actual rent with expected rent will give you GAV. Yes or no? But can you directly say whichever is higher? Why not? Because there was vacancy. So in case of vacancy, please check. Actual rent is higher than expected rent? No. If the actual rent would have been higher, even if there is a vacancy, actual rent is higher. We would have taken the actual rent as GAV. Yes or no? But actual rent, sir, it is lower than expected rent. So now we'll have to check whether the actual rent is lower than expected rent because of vacancy or not. So we'll have to add the vacancy rent. So how much period the property is vacant? 2 months the property is vacant. If for those 2 months the property would have been let out, how much rent we would have recovered? 20,000 into 2. 40,000 would have been the rent for the vacancy period also. So 40,000 vacancy rent and actual rent is how much? So if we add both of them, 2 lakh plus 40,000, what is the total? After adding the vacancy rent, my total is 2 lakh 40, which is more than expected rent, meaning that my actual rent is less because of vacancy. Yes or no? So what will be the GAV? GAV will be the amount of actual rent, which is 2 lakhs. Everyone got this? Now, see, unrealized rent was 20,000 and all the conditions prescribed by Rule 4 are satisfied. If you satisfy all the conditions of Rule 4, can you reduce the amount of unrealized rent? Yes. So now I will reduce the amount of unrealized rent from the amount of GAV. So 20,000 if I reduce here, how much will be my final amount of GAV? So GAV will be 1,80,000. Yes or no? Yes or no? And he paid. He paid means who paid? Mr. Ganesh is the owner. So owner paid how much? 8% of municipal value as what? Municipal tax. What was the municipal value? 2,50,000. 2,50,000 into 8%. 2,50,000 into, it will give you 20,000 is paid or payable? Paid. So will it be allowed as a deduction? So minus the municipal tax amounting to 20,000, you are going to get how much? So can I say NAV in this case will be 1,60,000? Yes or no? Now will you get any deduction out of this NAV? 2 deductions. Number 1, standard deduction at the rate of 30% of NAV. Allowed under which section? 24A. So 30% of NAV will be 48,000. Yes or no? And minus interest on housing loan. Is there any interest on borrowed capital? If they are not saying anything, then the capital would have been borrowed for the purpose of house property only. Yes or no? So how much is the interest? Can you get the entire amount of interest as a deduction? Yes, because the property was LOP. In the case of LOP, full amount of interest is allowed, no? So the amount will be 65,000. Can you do the calculations? How much? 47,000 positive amount or negative amount? Can I say this is the taxable income under the head house property? From this property, what is the final taxable income? 47,000. Please check the answer. 47,000. Yes or no? Now, what is this note all about? The note is about the fact that where we have reduced our unrealized rent, from GAV, we are reducing the unrealized rent as per the treatment given in income tax returns. As per the treatment given in income tax returns. Alternatively, it could have been reduced out of actual rent also. Yes or no? Hello, sir. So what your institute has reduced out of actual rent and given a note that alternatively it can be reduced from GAV also. We are reducing from GAV, and in that case also we are getting the same answer, 47,000. Did you get this, everyone? Now let's come to the next question. This is a very good question. That Purna has how many property? At Indiranagar in Bangalore. Okay, she stays with her family, stays with her in this house, meaning that the house property in Indiranagar is SOP. Yes or no? The rent of similar property in the neighborhood is 25,000. They are telling about fair rent. Neighborhood means same locality, other property, similar type of property is deriving how much rent? 25,000. So this is nothing but fair rent only, no? So fair rent will be considered or will be ignored? Ignored. Municipal value will be considered or will be ignored? Ignored. Municipal tax. Even if you pay municipal tax of the property, of the self-occupied property, will you get any deduction for that? So even the municipal tax will be ignored. So directly the GAV will be taken as nil. So how will you present this answer? Name of the assessee and everything. You know what is to be written. Okay. So directly we'll start with GAV. Gross annual value. Okay, no? How much is the gross annual value? Nil. Minus what? Municipal taxes paid. Paid 8,000, no? But still it will not be allowed as a deduction. What are we going to do? We are supposed to write a note for GAV, note 1. We are supposed to write a note for municipal tax also, because the examiner is going to ask you that what have you done with municipal value, fair rent. We have given the amounts of fair rent and municipal value. Why have you not taken those things in the solution? So you will have to give a note. What note you are going to give? I will dictate you. Don't worry. Okay, no? Next one, NAV. NAV is how much? On your calculator, nil minus nil will be nil. Very good. Take 30% of nil. Deductions under section 24. 24 clause A. Standard deduction at the rate of 30% of NAV. That will be nil. Because whenever the NAV is negative or nil, we don't get any standard deduction. Yes or no? Then clause B talks about interest on housing loan. Was there any interest on housing loan? Yes or no? For that we'll prepare note number 3. Yes or no? And then we are going to get the final income. See, prepare this thing first. Done with this, write down note. If you are done with this, write note number 1. You will do exactly the same presentation which I am telling you to do. Okay, no? You will get full marks for that. Don't worry about that. And don't fall in the trap of the presentation which the ICI has given. That is very lengthy. Okay, no? So write down note number 1. What note you will write? You will write the note about GAV. You will write the note about GAV. Yes or no? Write down. As per section 23, subsection 2. As per section 23, subsection 2. The GAV of any two SOPs, GAV of any two SOPs at the option of the assessee, is exempt. Is exempt. Full stop. Hence, GAV of Purna's property GAV of Purna's property at Bangalore is taken as nil, and the amount of fair rent and municipal value of such property have been ignored. Done? This is your note 1. Okay, write down note 2. Municipal taxes paid by the owner during the previous year municipal tax paid by the owner during the previous year in respect of SOP for which exemption is availed under section 23(2) shall not be allowed as a deduction. Full stop. Hence, municipal tax paid by Purna for his SOP at Bangalore, municipal tax paid by Purna for her SOP at Bangalore are ignored. Done. So why have you ignored the municipal tax, and how the GAV is coming nil? 2 notes you have given. Okay. Now note for interest. Write down note 3. But before that, we are going to read the balance part of the question. Ready? So what they are saying, see, the construction of the house began in April 19 with a loan of rupees taken from SBI Housing Finance Limited at 9% per annum on 1/4/2019. The loan was taken to construct the house property. This house property, Purna's house property at Bangalore, was constructed, and the construction started in April 19. To start that construction, Purna had to take a loan. When did she take that loan? 1st of April 2019. Can I say this 1st April 2019 is the date of borrowing? Now, on this date of borrowing, how much loan she has taken? 20 lakh for the purpose of construction. Yes or no? And what was the rate of interest? 9% per annum. Yes or no? So tell me now. Construction has started in 1920. 1920, property is not there. 2021 also, the property is not there. 21-22, property is, no sorry, 21-22, the property is there, because construction was completed on what date? 30th November 2021. Yes or no? Now see, the accumulated interest up to 31st March 2021 is accumulated interest up to 31st March 2021. You should thank your examiner that he has himself calculated the pre-construction interest. If he would not have calculated this, it was you who was required to calculate. Hello sir, from the date of borrowing till 31st March, immediately preceding to date of completion of construction. So can I say date of borrowing was 1st of April 2019. From this date, the pre-construction period will start and it will end on 31st March, immediately preceding to date of completion of construction. So what was the date of completion of construction? DOCOC. What was the date of completion of construction? 30th November 2021. Yes or no? So 31st March, immediately prior to this, 31st March immediately prior to this will be 31st March 2021. So whatever interest accumulated for this period, they have calculated and given it to you. How much is that interest? And how they would have calculated it? For the year 1920, for the year 2021, and for this period 12 months interest, this period 12 months interest on what? 20 lakhs. 20 lakhs into 9%, and 20 lakhs into 9%. This is 1,80,000. This is also 1,80,000. 1,80,000 plus 1,80,000. They have calculated and given it to you. Getting my point? But if they would not have given, we would have computed in the same manner. Yes or no? So now tell me, is this 3,60,000? Is this 3,60,000 your normal interest or pre-construction interest? Will it be allowed? Yes, it will be allowed. But will it be allowed fully or in 5 equal annual installments? So divided by 5. 70. Now this 72,000 will be first allowed. Will be allowed for the first time. With effect from which previous year? The previous year in which the construction is completed. So when the construction was completed? 30th November 21. Can I say previous year 21-22? Construction was completed. So 72,000 first time I would have claimed in 21-22. When I have claimed 72,000 for the first time, 21-22, then 22-23, then 21-22, 22-23, 23-24, 24-25, and which is my previous year. Can I say this 72,000 fifth installment will be claimed in my previous year? Yes or no? So only this interest will be allowed, or the normal interest also for this year? Normal interest also I will have to calculate. So tell me, on 31st March 2026, Purna paid how much? Which included 1,80,000 as what? So meaning that interest for this year, normal interest for this year will be how much? 1,80,000. In that I will add what? 72,000, fifth installment. Yes or no? And after this year, the entire pre-construction interest is over. So from next year onwards, only the normal interest will be allowed. Pre-construction interest will not be allowed, because this is the last year. 25-26 is the last year in which the pre-construction interest will be claimed. Fifth installment. Yes or no? So now, how are we going to present that? Okay, pay attention. Write down note number 3. In note number 3, what are we going to calculate? We are going to calculate deduction. Under which section? 24 clause B. In respect of interest on housing loan. Yes, sir. So first, what I will take? I will take interest due on loan outstanding during previous year 25-26. We call it normal interest. What is the interest which becomes due in this year? Yes or no? Normal interest you are going to calculate, or they have given? They have given. How much? 1,80,000. So write down given. And even if they would not have given, I would have calculated. How come? 20 lakh loan was taken, nothing is repaid. So 20 lakh is outstanding for full previous year. Yes or no? On 20 lakh, how much percent? 9%. That will be the interest for this year. Yes or no? So how much is that? 1,80,000. This is the normal interest. Now I will add what? 1/5. 1/5 of pre-construction interest. PCI means pre-construction interest. So I will do 1/5 of what amount? 3,60,000. And this is the first installment I am claiming, or the last installment I am claiming? So I will write fifth and final installment, fifth installment, and that is 72,000. Everyone understood? So what is the total now? 2,52,000. Can I say this is the total interest for which previous year? For previous year 25-26. Will it be allowed fully? Yes. If the property was LOP or DLOP, then this would have been allowed fully. But since my property is not LOP, DLOP, it is SOP. Will it be allowed fully or it will be allowed subject to limit? How much limit? 30,000 or 2 lakhs? Why are you taking 2 lakhs limit? Because the loan is taken in 1st April to 2019, meaning the loan is taken on or after 1st April 99. For what purpose? Construction, purchase or construction, yes or no? And the construction also got over within 5 years from the end of the year in which the loan was taken. So all the three conditions to take that 2 lakh limit is satisfied. So what will be the maximum limit? Maximum limit under section 24 clause B will be 2 lakhs. This or this, whichever is lower. This is A, this is B. So you will say lower of A and B is equal to reduction under section 24 clause B. That is 2 lakhs. Yes or no? Now wait, wait. Look at the question first. What the question is saying? Compute Purna's income from house property for the assessment year. Assessment year 26-27 means previous year 25-26. Okay, no? Assuming that he has exercised the option of the meaning following 115 BSc or not following 115. If you don't follow 115 BSc, then from your SOP, you are going to take the deduction for interest. Hello? So can you claim this deduction of interest? Yes. How much? 2 lakh. Why? Because you are not following 115 BSc. What if they would have given you that Purna is following 115 BSc? Then there will be no deduction. And if there is no deduction, no need to calculate this interest also. Yes or no? Easy or difficult? So how much will be the deduction? Come on, tell me. 2 lakh. So nil minus 2 lakh will give you 2 lakh negative. Negative, no? So negative amount is not taxable income. Negative amount is a loss. Negative amount is a loss from house property. So Purna's house property as Bangalore. No taxable income of that property. There is a loss from that property amounting to rupees 2 lakhs. Getting my point? And this loss only will be treated as loss under the head house property. Getting my point? One more note is coming. Now look at the question and you identify what note would be there. No, not about the tax regime. Not about the tax regime. Something else. Look at the question. The answer is hidden in last 4-5 lines. How much amount she has paid to SBI housing? But out of that 1 lakh 80 is, so what about the balance 60,000? The loan which you have taken, on that loan you are paying 2 lakh 40. That 2 lakh 40, out of that 1 lakh 80 is interest. So how about that 60? Can I say that 60 would have been principal repayment of loan? Hello? So they will ask you that we are saying that 2 lakh 40 is paid. Out of that 180 is interest. So you have taken 1 lakh 80 interest in the calculation. See, have you taken 1 lakh 80 in the calculation? Yes or no? What about the balance 60,000? You will have to say that the balance 60,000 was principal amount of loan repaid during the previous year. And for that, no deduction is available under the head house property. That is allowed as a deduction from GTI under section 80C. Hence, we have ignored that while calculating the income under the head house property. Yes or no? Write down note 4. Out of the total payment, of rupees 2,40,000, during the previous year 24-25, during the previous year 24-25, since 1,80,000, sorry 25-26, my mistake, during the previous year 25-26, during the previous year 25-26, since 1,80,000 is interest, $1,80,000 was interest, the balance 60,000 was principal repayment. See, even if they are saying that there was no principal repayment prior to this date, meaning that on 31st March, whatever payment is made, on that, in that payment, 60,000 is principal. Prior to this date, there was no principal repayment, meaning that for the full year, how much interest, for the full year, how much loan was outstanding? 20 lakhs. On that 9% interest is there, 1 lakh 80. But how much you are paying? 2 lakh 40. As on 31st March, if you are paying 2 lakh 40, as on 31st March, if you are paying 2 lakh 40, this includes 1 lakh 80 as interest. So definitely 60,000 is principal. Principal is repaid on what date? 31st March. Prior to this date, there was no principal repayment, meaning for the full year, how much loan was outstanding? 20 lakhs. Therefore, on that 20 lakh, 9% is calculated, which is 1 lakh 80, which is the interest for this year. Getting my point? Hello, sir. Understood or not? No? Wait, I'll tell you. When did you pay? This is your previous year. Everyone, if you are not understanding, no, raise your hand and ask me the question. You are not going home taking the doubts. If you have silly doubts, ask me silly doubts. If you have big doubts, ask me the big doubts. But don't go home taking your doubts from here. Why I am here? To teach you all. Yes or no? And if you are not understanding any point, who is there to solve those doubts? I am the only person, no? So raise your hand and ask your doubt. If you have not understand any concept, I will teach that concept 10 times. Understanding? Tell me, if this is your previous year 25-26, and if I have to calculate the interest for this year, I will calculate the interest on the loan. So how much loan was taken? 20 lakhs, long back. Out of that, is any principal repayment done? No, no principal repayment done. Can I say, and the beginning of the year, how much loan was outstanding? So in the month of April, the interest will be on 20 lakhs. In the month of May, the interest will be on 20 lakhs. In the month of June, interest will be on, can I say for the full year, every month interest will be paid on 20 lakh, because no repayment of principal is done. Entire 20 lakh principal is outstanding for the full year. Yes or no? So for this entire year, how much principal was outstanding? On that 20 lakhs, what is the rate of interest? 9%. So what should be the interest? 1 lakh 80. So as on 31st March 2000, and I should have paid this much only, no? But they are saying, no, as on 31st March, how much is paid? How much is paid? 2 lakh 40 is paid. So if 2 lakh 40 is paid on 31st March, out of that 1 lakh 80 is what? Interest. So how much is principal? Principal is paid on 31st March. No principal repayment was made prior to this. Getting my point? So can I say that this 60,000 is nothing but my principal? Hello? Which I have paid in this year, but not in the beginning, not in the mid of the year, but at the end of the year. Since it is paid at the end of the year, so for the full year, how much loan was outstanding? 20 lakh. On that only the interest is calculated. Understood? So this 60,000, since it is paid in this year, but on the last day, it will be allowed as a deduction in this year, but not under 24 clause B. It will be allowed under section 80C while calculating my GTA. Yes or no? So what have you written in your note number 4? Everyone understood this explanation? Sure, no? Okay, what have you written? Come on, anyone, read it loud. Out of the total payment of 2,40,000 during the previous year 25-26, 1,80,000 is interest. Hence, the balance 60,000 is principal repayment of the housing loan. Principal repayment of the housing loan, which is eligible for deduction under section 80C from GTI. Hence, it is ignored while calculating the income. Hence, it is ignored while calculating the income under the head house property. Got it, sir? On 31st March, how much you paid? 2,40,000. Out of that, 1,80,000 interest is there. Why 1,80,000 interest? Because 20 lakh is outstanding throughout the year. No principal was repaid prior to 31st March. Yes or no? Last date, how much total paid? 2,40,000. In that, 60,000 principal repaid at the end of the year. Getting my point? Okay. Now this was your question number 6. Very easy question. Very easy question. But those notes which are there, no? If you will not write these type of notes in the exams, you will lose your marks. Because the examiner is going to ask you that we have given you so many details in the question and you are just writing nil, nil, nil everywhere and writing only negative 2 lakh. What have you done? Explain those things to us, no? And if you are not able to explain by way of notes, what the examiner will think? That either you have copied from somewhere or out of fluke you are writing your answers. So he should not be feeling that you have copied from somewhere or it is just a fluke. And how that will happen? By way of notes. You have to provide the notes. Yes or no? Next one. Next question is question number 7. Now wait. See, day before yesterday, when I was explaining at that time, did I explain 23.1 to you? 23.1 talks about LOP. Which property? Let out property. Annual value. How to calculate, you know. And calculating the annual value, that annual value will be taxable also. Yes or no? What about 23.2? SOP. How many SOP? Any 2 SOPs. Yes or no? The annual value, don't calculate because it is exempt. Got it? No? What about the balance SOPs? As per 23.4, they will be treated as ELOPs. Yes or no? How to calculate the annual value? In the same manner in which it is calculated for LOP. And calculate and it will be taxable. Understood? No? What about 23.3? Yes, now we are going to discuss this. Partly let out and partly self-occupied. Based on what? Based on time. Meaning that, sir, out of 12 months in the previous year, the property was let out for 9 months. Property was let out for 3 months. The property is self-occupied. Possible? Now, if after reading the question, you come to know that this is the case. This is the case. What status you will give? Can you give double status or you will have to give single status? What status? This property cannot be treated as SOP. 23.3 says such type of property cannot be treated as. Why? Because you have started taking the benefit out of the property. During the year, have you taken the monetary benefit out of the property? Yes. The moment you take monetary benefit from the property, it loses the status of SOP. Then only one status is possible. What? LOP. So LOP status will be given. Yes or no? And how will you calculate the taxable value? Its annual value will be taxable. Yes or no? But how to calculate the annual value? In the same manner in which it is calculated for? It is calculated for LOP. Yes or no? Now tell me, how much is the ownership? Ownership is for the whole year. So can I take municipal value? Fair rent, standard rent. By taking these figures, I will calculate expected rent. Expected rent will be for 12 months. Why 12 months? Because the ownership is for 12 months. Out of the 12 months ownership, let out for 9 months and self-occupied for 3 months. Yes or no? So what you will do? If ownership is 12 months, expected rent for 12 months. Meaning that all these 3 figures, 12 months, 12 months, 12 months. Any problem here? Any problem? Now tell me, actual rent of this property, same example. How many months? Actual rent is the rent for the period for which the property is let out. How many months the property is let out? So, I will take the actual rent for how many months? 9 months. Now, both are for same period or different period? Yes or no? Can you compare both of them? Whichever is higher? Yes. If there is vacancy, if there is, only then AR plus VR will happen. Hello? But if there is no vacancy, I can directly compare expected rent and actual rent. Yes or no? So tell me, was my property vacant for even a single day? 9 months, somebody else is occupying because it was let out, and 3 months I am occupying. It is self-occupied. Was the property under lock and key, completely vacant? No, not for a single day also. Meaning, vacancy is there or vacancy is not there. So if there is no vacancy, if there is, close your eyes and take actual rent or expected rent, whichever is higher. Will you able to do this? Hello, sir. Can there be a vacancy in such type of properties? Can there be a vacancy in such kind of properties? Yes. How come? See, this is my previous year. I have let out the property for how many months? Hello, sir. Till December. And I self-occupied the property from February. I have let out the property till December. I have let out the property till. Then I am self-occupying from 1st February and not from 1st January. So can I say for 1 month of January the property will be vacant? Yes or no? And for 2 months the property is self-occupied. Now in this case you are going to give me the answer. Principal value, fair rent, standard rent. By taking these 3 figures, expected rent will be calculated. Expected rent for how many months? Absolutely 12 months. Why? Because the ownership is for the full year. Yes or no? So expected rent 12 months. Municipal value, fair rent, standard rent, all figures for 12 months. Will you remember this? Hello, sir. Now tell me, actual rent for how many months? Actual rent for how many months? 9 months. Now please tell me one thing. Can you directly compare as you did last time? Last time you directly compared expected rent or actual rent. Whichever is higher will become the GAV. Why you did that? Because there was no vacancy. Getting my point? But is there any vacancy this time? So if there is vacancy, can you directly compare? What will you say? No. Vacancy of 1 month is there. Till the actual rent is higher than expected rent. Then take the actual rent as GAV. Hello, sir. Even if the property was vacant for 1 month, still my actual rent is higher than or equal to expected rent. In that case, I will take actual rent only as GAV. What if actual rent is lower than expected rent? I will add vacancy. Now the vacancy added will be for 1 month. Vacancy added will be for 1 month vacancy rent plus actual rent. Now this total amount will be compared with expected rent. Total amount will be compared with. What if the total amount is more than or equal to expected rent? Then also actual rent will become the GAV. Yes or no? What if the total amount is less than expected rent? Then actual rent will be ignored and expected rent will be taken as GAV. Did you understand the entire calculation? Now the same logics you are supposed to apply in the question which we are going to solve now. Okay, now? Question number 7. Srimati Rajlakshmi owns a house. Where? Adyar in Chennai. Okay. Municipal value of the property is 5 lakhs. Fair rent is 4 lakh 20. Standard rent is 4 lakh 80. The property was for 50,000 per month. Up to. Is the property let out throughout the year or only up to December? Now what is happening thereafter? Thereafter the tenant vacated the property and Srimati Rajlakshmi used the house for self-occupation. Meaning that from January, tenant vacated and Rajlakshmi started using it. So can I say property is let out for how many months? 9 months. And it is self-occupied for 3 months. Yes or no? Partly let out, partly self-occupied based on time. What we have to do? We have to consider this property as LOP as per section 23(3). Yes or no? Now, if we will consider this property as LOP, what will happen? Expected rent or actual rent, whichever is higher. Why, sir? Because there is no vacancy. Getting my point? So now tell me, what will be the municipal value? What was the municipal value? 5 lakhs. What was the fair rent? 4 lakh 20,000. Right now? whichever is higher. Higher amount is 5 lakhs. What was the standard rent? 4 lakh 80,000. All these figures you have taken for how many months? 12 months. Figures are given for 12 months. You have taken for 12 months only. Why? Because the ownership was for 12 months. Yes or no? Now tell me, what will be the expected rent? 4 lakh 80. Actual rent is the rent for the period for which the property is actually let out. How much period the property is actually let out for? 9 months. So 9 months into 50,000 will give you 4 lakh 50,000. Yes or no? Was there any vacancy in the property? So no vacancy. Directly compare. Whichever is higher amount will be taken here. 4 lakh 80,000. Done, sir. 4 lakh 80,000. Now minus unrealized rent. Rent for how many months? November and December. Rent for November and December could not be recovered, and conditions of section 4 are satisfied. So can I say that unrealized rent will be allowed as a deduction? So I will reduce that. How much? 50,000 each month. So for November and December, 2 months it will be 1 lakh. Minus you are going to get GAV. How much? Out of this GAV, will you reduce the municipal tax? Was there any municipal tax? How much? 12% of 5 lakh will be 60,000. Is it paid in this year? Or no? 3,000. Now what will be the NAV? NAV will be 3 lakh 20,000. Yes or no? Minus 30% standard deduction will be 96,000. And is there any interest on housing loan? How much? They are saying that he had paid interest of 25,000 during the year for the amount borrowed for repairs of the house property. See, if it is a loan taken for purchase or construction, then the limit is 2 lakhs. In every other housing loan, the limit is 30,000. But that you do when the property is SOP. Are you treating the property as SOP or LOP? So for LOP, whatever housing loan is there, on that whatever interest is there, that is fully allowed. So how much is the interest, guys? 25,000. Are you getting 1,99,000? Positive, negative? How much you are getting? 199 only, no? Everyone, this 199 is taxable income from house property. Very difficult question. You need to be a little bit careful, little bit. Okay, no? So, where have you commit mistakes? You would have understood. Now, don't repeat those mistakes again. Okay? Similar type of question. One more question will do. Similar type of question. Okay? So, 7th is done. 8th. 8th question will come afterwards. Wait, we'll come to question number 8 afterwards. 9th also afterwards. 10th also afterwards. 11th later. Test your knowledge. Test your knowledge. Owner of a house property. 2 identical units. Okay, let's come to question number 8. That is not a similar question. Question number 8 is not a similar question. But do you know any one house property, sorry, any 2 house properties we can take as SOP? Then the other properties will be DLOP. Yes or no? Now here they have given you 3 properties. How many properties? And they are telling Ganesh has 3 house properties, all of which are, but you cannot take the exemption of annual value of all the 3 properties. You can take for any 2. The option is given to you. But in that case, the 3rd property will be treated as DLOP. Sure? Everyone? So tell me, which 2 properties you will claim as SOP? Sir, 3 properties are there, no? I have 3 options. If I take 1 and 2 as SOP, then I will have to show 3 as DLOP. This is first option. Second option is, if I will show 2 and 3 as SOP, hello, then I will have to show 1 as DLOP. This is the second option. Third option is, I will show 1 and 3 as SOP, then I will have to show 2 as DLOP. Getting my point? So I have how many options? Come on, tell me. 3 options. Option 1, 2 and 3. This is H1, H2, H3. H1, H2. SOP, then this will be DLOP. Option 2, H1 is SOP, H3 is SOP, then 2 will be DLOP. Option 3, this is SOP, this is SOP, then this will be DLOP. Can I say this I will have to show as DLOP, or this I can show as DLOP, or this I can show DLOP? Now, which will be the best option according to you? Come on, tell me. Without looking at the amounts, how can you say? Yes, tell me, wherever the highest annual value is there, highest income is coming, those properties I will claim as exempt. Hello? And lowest one I will show as DLO. So, if I treat these two properties as SOP, hello sir, if these two properties as SOP, then this will be my DLO. I will have to calculate, if this is SOP, how much is the income? And this is DLOP, how much is income? Yes or no? Now I will add the income of all the three properties under option 1. So in option 1, I will get one amount. This is my taxable income if I choose option number 1. Yes or no? Then in the second option, what I will have to do? Property 1 and property 3. I will consider them as SOP and I will calculate their incomes. Getting my point? And I will calculate the income of property 2, taking it as DLOP. Now I will add the income of 3 properties. I will again get a total. This is the taxable income if I choose option number 2. If I don't choose 1 and I choose second option, then my taxable income will be this much. Hello sir. So which is the better option? The option having highest taxable income or option having lowest taxable income? Getting my point? Likewise, for the third option also I will have to do. I will have to calculate SOP income, I will have to calculate SOP income, and I will have to calculate this DLOP income. All the 3 incomes I will add and I will get one total. This is my taxable income if I choose option number 3. Now, which is the best option out of all the 3? Having highest taxable income or lowest taxable income? Yes or no? What if all the options are having loss? No. If all the options are having loss, which option I will choose? Option having highest loss, because that loss will be allowed as a set off from my taxable income. So more loss will be there, more set off will be available. So my income will be reduced more. Getting my point? So if all the 3 options are positive, all the 3 options are, I will choose the lowest one. Hello sir, I will choose but if all the 3 options are negative, if all the 3 options are, I will choose the highest negative. Yes or no? But wait, 2 options are positive and 1 option is negative. Instead of choosing a taxable income, definitely I will choose a loss, no? Because that loss, instead of paying tax, I would prefer having a loss which I can set off against my other incomes. Take my point. What if 2 options are having a loss and 1 option is having a profit? Forget about the profit option. I will not choose it. And 2 options are having loss. Then the loss which is highest. Got it, sir? Everyone, now you'll have to calculate the answer, these 3 options. How many calculations will be done? 1 calculation, 2 calculation, 3 calculation. Hello? No. 3 options having this. Getting my point? 9 calculations you are supposed to do. So I'll give you a shortcut. Hello? I'll give you a shortcut. Okay? Write down. Solution you will be doing in the same manner in which I am doing. Okay? So, assumption. Assume that all properties are what? SOP. Are what? SOP. So I'm making first table. In first table, no, I will assume that all the properties are SOP. What if property 1 is SOP? How much will be the taxable income? What if property 2 is SOP? How much will be the taxable income? What if property 3 is SOP? How much is the taxable income? So in my first table which I'm going to prepare, I'm going to consider as if this property is SOP, this property is SOP, this property is SOP. What will be the taxable income of each property if that property is treated as SOP? Yes or no? So now in the second table, what I will do? The opposite. I will assume all the properties to be DLOP and I will calculate the income of each property, assuming that property is DLOP. Yes or no? Then I will combine both the tables and create my options. Getting my point? Hello, sir. So, in the first case, I will take, how many properties are there? H3, H2, H1. Done, sir. And this is particulars. Are you all understanding, no? Everyone, pure? Sure, no? Okay. Now see, if I take any property as SOP, the annual value is exempt. The annual value is exempt. So will I directly start from principal value or should I start from GAV only? GAV. So GAV of that property can be taken as nil. Gross annual value of that property will be taken as nil. 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 That's sir. Minus municipal tax. Even if the municipal tax of that property is paid, will it be allowed as a deduction or it will not be allowed as a deduction? Not be allowed. Nil, nil, and nil. So what will be the NAV? NAV will be nil. Minus 24 clause A, 30% standard deduction. Minus 24 clause B, interest on housing loan. Done, no sir? So this will be 30%, nil, nil and nil. See, so fast this table is finished. Now the last thing, interest is there. Now let's come to the question first. Let's come to the question. Can you see house 1? Can you see house 1? Is there any interest on housing loan? If there is no interest on housing loan, so what will come here? Nil. Everyone. Now let's take house 2. How much is the interest? Can I say this 55,000 is the interest on money borrowed for? Whenever you take a housing loan for repairs, and on that, if you pay interest, that interest will be allowed subject to maximum limit of 2 lakhs or 30,000. So can you claim entire 55 or you will claim maximum 30,000? So here the interest will be 30,000. Everyone, sir, understanding? Now let's come to the third house property. How much is the total interest, sir? How much is the total interest? That interest is on money borrowed in April 18 for the purpose of money borrowed on or after 1499 for the purpose of purchase or construction. And if they are not telling that the purchase is taking more than 5 years, hello, by the way, purchase is not going to take more than 5 years. Huh? Purchase will happen immediately. So purchase is happening within 5 years. All the 3 conditions satisfied or not? So how much interest maximum I can claim? 2 lakhs. 2 lakh or 1 lakh? 75, whichever is lower. So can I take the entire 1 lakh 75? So now if I take my house property 1 as SOP, if I take my house property 1 as SOP, what will be the final income of that property? Nil. If I take house property 2 as my SOP, what will be the final income of house property 2? Negative 30. Yes or no? Now, if I take house property 3 as my SOP, what will be the final income of house property 3? Negative 1,75,000. Yes or no? So, color, yellow color, yellow color. Okay. So, whenever I take my house property 1 as SOP, what income I will take? Nil. Whenever I will take house property 2 as my SOP, what income I will take? Negative 30. And whenever I will take house property 3 as my SOP, what income I will take? 1,75,000. Yes or no? Individually, if the property is SOP, this will be the income of that property. If that property is SOP. Okay. This is my first table. Now I will prepare the second table. Second table, assumption. Assume that all properties are LOP or SOP or DLOP. So now the assumption is the property are DLOP. Properties are DLOP, deemed to be let out properties. Yes or no? Same thing, same thing. House 3, then house 2, then house 1. Now friends, be a little bit careful. Now you are assuming, what if my house property 1 was a DLOP? What will be the taxable income of this property? Yes or no? What if the property 2 was a DLOP? What will be the taxable income of property 2? Likewise, what if the property 3 was DLOP? So if the property 3 is taken as DLOP, what will be the final taxable income of property 3? Yes or no? So here it will be particulars. Now I will directly start with GAV. For GAV, I will have to calculate by taking the municipal value, compare with fair rent, higher amount will be there. I will compare it with standard rent, lower amount will be expected rent, lower amount is expected rent, yes or no? And I will compare it with actual rent, because since the property is DLOP, hello, actual rent will be there or will not be there? Will not be there. Very good. So right now only I will write down not applicable, and not applicable, so that I don't forget it. Okay. Now I will directly calculate GAV. Will there be any unrealized rent? Will there be any unrealized rent? No. Since there is no actual rent only, there is no point of unrealized rent. Unrealized rent and actual rent both will come while calculating LOP. Hello, sir. Here there will be no actual rent also. There will be no unrealized rent also. Whatever expected rent will come, that will become my GAV. Yes or no? Now out of this GAV, what I will do? Minus municipal tax. I will get NAV. Out of that, I will take deduction under section 24 clause A, 30% of NAV. And second deduction will be 24 clause B, that is interest on housing loan. Ready, sir? I am ready with my format. Are you all ready? Come on. Now, property 1, 3 lakh, 3 lakh 60 and 3 lakh 30. 3 lakh, 3 lakh 60 and 3 lakh 30. This is my municipal value. Fair rent is 375, 275 and 380. 375, 275. What is the last one? 380. So, can I now calculate my higher amount? 3 lakh 75. Here it will be 3 lakh 60. Here it will be 3 lakh 80. Everyone getting it? What is the municipal, standard rent? 350, 370 and 375. 350, then 370 and then 380. 375. Understanding or not? Easy or difficult? Easy? Hello? Okay. What is the expected rent? First case. This or this, whichever is higher. This or this, whichever is lower. 3 lakh 50. Then it is 360. Then 375. Now what will be your GAV? Come on, tell me. 3 lakh 50, because there is no actual rent. 3 lakh 60. Then 3 lakh 75. Okay. Now see, they are saying that municipal taxes paid during the year. Who might have paid? Tenant would have paid. Are they telling you that it is paid by tenant? Then definitely it would have been paid by the assessee. Yes or no? How much? 12% of 3 lakhs will be? 12% of 3 lakhs will be 36,000 paid in this year, will be allowed in this year. 8% of 3 lakh 60. 28,800 paid in this year, allowed in this year. 6% of 3 lakh 30. 19,800 paid in this year, allowed in this year. What is the NAV first case? 3 lakh 14,000. Second case, 3 lakh 31,200. Last one, 55, 200. Everyone got these figures? Are you all calculating? Don't just copy, calculate also. Right now? Now 30% of 3 lakh 40. 30% of 3 lakh 14. 94,200. Is there any interest on housing loan? No, no interest on housing loan. Calculate the final income. 2 lakh. 3 lakh 14,000 minus interest, minus 30%. For property 1, there was no interest only, no? 2 lakh 90. 2 lakh 19,800. See, you all are calculating, I am relying on your calculations. Doing the correct calculations, no? Okay, second one, 30% will be how much? 99,360. And last case, 30% is how much? 1,06,560. Now, do you have interest for both these properties? Second property, how much is the interest? 55. And third property, how much is the interest? 1,70,000. Now, are you taking the property as SOP or right now the property is DLOP? So, for LOP or DLOP, whatever interest is there, it is allowed fully, no? So, can I say entire 55,000 I can claim? Hello? And entire 1,75,000 also I can claim. So, tell me the final income. 1,76,840. Last one. 76. 73,640. Yes or no? Earlier was color, yellow color, no? Hello? This will be color, pink color. This will be color, pink color. In pink color, DLOP amounts are there. And in yellow color, which amounts are there? SOP. Yes or no? Now see, two tables are made. How many tables are made? Two tables. Now wait. Pay attention. What is the first option available to me? What is the first option? H1, H1, H2 and H3. And this is total column. Yes or no? H1, H2, H3. First option with me. This is SOP. This is SOP. So this will be my DLOP. Yes or no? So if H1 is SOP, how much is the income? Nil. If H2 is SOP, how much is the income? Minus 30. So nil and minus 30. Can I write down nil here? Can I write down minus 30 here? Now H3 will then be DLOP. So go to second table. How much is the income of H3? 73,640. I will write down 73,640. Can you do the total? Positive, no? So you have taken the set off of this loss from the income. Yes or no? 43,640. So if you choose this option, you will have to pay tax on this income. If you choose this option, you will have to pay tax on 43,640. Yes or no? Other option also we have. Option number 2. Option number 2. In option number 2, H1 I will take SOP. H3 also I will take as SOP. Then H2 I will have to show as DLOP. Everyone, now tell me, if H1 is SOP, how much is the income? Nil. If H3 is SOP, please check. If H3 is SOP, how much is the income? Negative 1,75,000. So I will write down negative 1,75,000. Now if H2 is DLOP, how much is the income? 1,76,840. Positive, no? 1,76,840. Done, sir? So tell me, what will be the final income? Now tell me, don't you think second option is better as compared to first one? Why? Because if you choose the first option, you will have to pay tax on 43,640. But if you choose the second option, you will have to pay tax only on 1,840. Which is the best option? Second option. But wait. We still have one more option remaining. Yes or no? But see, right now, as of now, I will not choose option 1. Because anyways, option 2 is better as compared to option 1. So option 1 is gone. Now option 2 is there with me. Yes or no? I just will have to check now that is my option 3 better than option 2? If it is better, I will choose option 3. But if it is not better than option 2 will be my final answer. Yes or no? So in option number 3, what I will do? H2 I will take as SOP and H3 also I will take SOP. Then H1 I will have to take as DLOP. Now go to the second table. What is the income of H1? If H1 is DLOP, what is the income? So can I write down 2,19,800 over here? Now H2 is negative 30. H2 is negative 30 and H3 is negative 1,75,000. Yes or no? But wait, do you remember? One SOP or two SOPs taken together, the interest cannot be claimed more than 2 lakhs. Did I tell you that? If you are an assessee having one SOP or two SOP. For both the SOPs, the interest cannot be more than 2 lakhs. Now this loss is because of interest only, no? So tell me, for your H2, the interest allowed was 30. And for H3, the interest allowed was 1,75,000. Because of that, the loss is coming. So how much is the total interest for these two properties? 2,05,000. Both the properties taken together, the interest cannot be more than 2 lakhs. So your loss cannot be more than 2 lakhs for these two properties taken together. Yes or no? So what I will do? I will add both of them. 2 lakh, 5,000 is the total loss which cannot be more than 2 lakh. Yes or no? This or this, whichever is lower. So tell me how much loss I can take. Can I take the entire 2,05,000? Or both the properties taken together, loss can be maximum 2 lakh. So this 2 lakh and 2,19,000. What will be the final income? 19,800. See, option 3 is better than option 1. But still it is not better than option 2. What will be the final conclusion? So you will write, since taxable income under option 2 is least, that is 1840, hence this option should be selected by whom? By Mr. Ganesh. Yes or no? Name of the associate is Ganesh only, no? Hello. That is H1 and H3 to be treated as SOP, and H2 is to be treated as what? DLO. Can you get such questions in the exam? The answer is yes. This will be for how many marks? No, not 10 marks, but at least 6 to 8 marks. So always try to solve these type of questions. Okay, no difficult question. This is the difficult question. See, how come it is difficult? SOP table was made very easily. Even the DLOP table was made very easily. Now we had to take 3 options and arrange everything and get the answer. Getting my point? Whatever you will study, no, in the class with me, in the exam also you will get the same exact thing. Nothing will be outside the studies which we are doing in the class. Everything in the exam will come from whatever we are studying in the class only. Yes or no? Understood? So this was your question number 8. Now do you remember, if the property is partly let out and partly self-occupied, if the property is partly let out and partly, Kamlesh, now it will be based on area. Example, one property is there. Okay, now this property is having ground floor and first floor. This is ground floor and this is first floor. Okay, now in the question they are saying that both ground floor and first floor units are equal in size, dimension and area. Are equal in size, dimension and area, meaning both are having same areas. So can I say this entire property is divided into 2 equal areas? Hello, ground floor having same area and first floor having same area. Can I say if the property is having a area of 1000 square feet, area of ground floor will have 500 square feet and the first floor will have 500 square feet. If the property is 1000 square feet and the property is divided into ground floor and first floor having equal areas, then ground floor will not be 1000, first floor will not be 1000, then 1000, it will become 2000. Ayyo. What did I say? Property is having total area of how much? Divided into two equal parts. Identical units. Yes or no? So if it is divided into two equal parts, so one part will have 500 square feet. Another part will have 500 plus 500 add. So the property is having 1000 square feet. Yes or no? So can I say this first floor is exactly half of the total area? Hello? And this ground floor is also exactly half of the total area. So total area, half of the area is ground floor, half of the area is first floor. So far, understood or not? Understood or not? Now this area was self-occupied and this area was let out. Possible? So can I say half property is self-occupied, half property is let out, half property is self-occupied, half property is let out. Now this property will have double status. This property will have, what are you going to do? Consider this property, this part as a separate property and calculate the income separately. And consider this part as a separate property and calculate the income separately, because the annual value of the entire property cannot be taxed. Are you exploiting the annual value of the entire property and earning rent from entire property? No. So you are not going to pay tax on the annual value of the entire property. Yes or no? So can you exempt the annual value of the entire property? No. Even that cannot be done, because the annual value, rent earning capacity of only the half part is not exploited. Rent earning capacity of other half is exploited and rent is earned. No. So you cannot claim the exemption for the full property. Getting my point? So, and simultaneously, you cannot tax the annual value of entire property. Now what are you going to do? Simple. This let out portion, calculate the income separately. That will be taxable. Hello, sir. This self-occupied portion, don't calculate the income. Exempt. Provided this is the only SOP you are having. Or you are having this SOP and one more SOP. Then the annual value of this SOP will be exempt. Hello? What if you are already having other two SOPs for which you are claiming the exemption? Then this SOP exemption cannot be claimed. This will be treated as DLOP. Hello, sir. Will you remember this much? Now, one thing, very important thing. Now they are telling the municipal value, fair rent, standard rent, municipal tax. If floor wise given, then there is no problem. If floor wise, that for first floor, this much municipal value, this much fair rent, this much standard rent, and this much municipal tax for first floor. And for ground floor, separately, if they are giving, then there is no problem. But what if all these figures are given for entire property? Is it given for only let out portion, only self-occupied portion, or for the entire property? And if your entire property is divided into two equal parts, don't you think you will have to divide these figures also into two equal parts? Half of this will be related to let out portion. Half of this will relate to self-occupied portion. So the half amount which relates to self-occupied portion will be ignored. Hello. And the half which relates to let out portion, by taking that half amount only, the income of let out portion has to be calculated. Getting my point? So what if these amounts are given for entire property? Will you divide these amounts? Hello? Will you divide or you will not divide? You will divide. And divide in what ratio? Divide in what ratio? Divide in the ratio of area which is let out and which is self-occupied. What is the ratio in our case? Half, half. 1:1. Yes or no? So 1/2 will be related to let out portion, 1/2 related to self-occupied portion. Did you understand this? Hello, sir. Now tell me, actual rent will also be given for the property. Actual rent will also be given. So, like municipal value, fair rent, standard rent, and municipal tax, did you divide them? Did you divide them into LOP and SOP portion? Actual rent. Will you divide the actual rent? If you will divide, I will ask you to bring your SRO number. Why? Don't you think that actual rent will not be for the full property? It will be only for let out portion. And still you are going to divide it, knowing that actual rent will come from let out portion only. No. So are you going to divide it? No. This will be entirely related to your let out portion. Yes or no? Now can I say a housing loan is taken for entire property? Now they are saying that the housing loan is not taken only for ground floor. No, 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 no. Housing loan is not taken only for first floor. Housing loan was taken for entire property. If the housing loan was taken for entire property, so on this housing loan, whatever interest will be there, don't you think that this interest will relate to entire property? Hello? Out of this, will you divide this interest? Will you divide this interest? Yes, divide this interest. Divide this interest into let out portion and self-occupied portion. In what ratio you will divide? In what ratio? Same ratio, ratio of area. Done, sir? So the interest which is related to my let out portion, don't you think that interest will be fully allowed? Hello, sir? Understanding what I am trying to do? You can say yes or you can say no. Huh? Participate with me. Hello? Interest will be related to full property. So have you divided the interest? In what ratio? In the ratio of area. Area which was let out, area which was self. In that same ratio, you are going to divide. And after dividing, you came to know, okay, so the interest related to let out portion is X amount. Can you claim that full amount as a deduction? Yes, because any interest for let out portion, let out property is fully allowed. No. What if some interest is related to self-occupied portion? What if some interest is related to self-occupied portion? Can you claim that entire interest? Or it will be allowed subject to? Will be allowed subject to what? Limits. What limit is there? Sometimes the limit will be 2 lakhs. Sometimes the limit will be 30,000 as the case limit. Did you understand? So in the question, if you identify any property, it was partly let out, partly self-occupied based on area. How will you identify? What they will say? That property is having 2 identical units. 2 identical units means both the units having same area. 1 unit let out, another unit is self-occupied, meaning partly let out, partly self-occupied based on area. Now they might tell you in the question that property is having 3 identical units. How many units? Out of them 1 unit is let out and the remaining 2 units are self-occupied. So in this case also, out of the 3 units, 1/3 is 1 unit is let out, 1/3 is let out, and 2 units out of 3, meaning 2/3 is self-occupied. Can a property has 3 rooms? Hello, 1, 2, and 3. All are identical. It is not necessary. No, my property will be ground floor and first floor. I have a property having 3 rooms. I have a property having 3 rooms. All the 3 rooms are having equal size, dimension, and area. So how many identical rooms I am having? 3. 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. Equal areas, no? 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. Out of these 3, 1 is let out. So out of 3, if 1 is let out, can I say 1/3 portion of my property is let out? And remaining 2, out of 3, remaining 2 self-occupied, meaning can I say 2/3 portion of my property is self-occupied? Hello? Can there be 4 rooms in the property? Equal size, dimension, etc. 2 rooms let out, 2 rooms self-occupied. What is the ratio? 1:1. Hello? 1/2, 1/2. 2/4, 2/4 means 1/2, 1/2. 1/2, 1/2 means equal proportion. 1:1. Sir, no, sir. You remember? Now, what are you supposed to remember? If the municipal value, fair rent, standard rent, municipal tax, all these figures are given for the entire property, will you divide in the ratio of area? Okay. Amount related to let out portion, from those amounts only the income of let out portion will be calculated. Yes or no? Amount related to self-occupied portion will be ignored because self-occupied portion, the income is exempt, provided other 2 SOPs are not taken as exempt. Otherwise, this will be DLOP. Getting my point? then these figures will also be counted for DLOP. Getting my point? Wait. Now, what if actual rent is given? Will you divide the actual rent? Or entire actual rent you will show in LOP only? Entire actual rent show in the LOP portion. Yes or no? Now, housing loan taken only for ground floor. Housing loan taken only for ground floor. Don't you think interest will be for ground floor only? No need to divide. But what if the housing loan was taken for first floor? Then the interest will be related to first floor. Don't divide. But what if the housing loan was taken for the entire property? Then the interest will be related to the entire property. Even that interest I will have to bifurcate into let out portion and self-occupied portion. Yes or no? Based on what area? Based on what ratio? Ratio of area. Area which is let out and self-occupied. Now, if I have divided the interest into let out portion and self-occupied portion, if I have divided the interest into let out portion and self-occupied portion, what will happen? The interest which is related to let out portion will be fully allowed to calculate the income of let out portion. Yes or no? What about the interest of self-occupied portion? That will be allowed from the annual value of self-occupied portion, subject to limit of 30,000 or 2 lakhs as the case may be. Ready? Shall we start solving the questions? Till 8. All the questions are done. Not a single illustration we have left. Only illustration number 2 is remaining. Yes or no? But other than that, all the illustrations we have done. Okay? Come to illustration number 9. Illustration number 9. But wait, before we are solving this question, no? Do you remember last question we solved? This last question? We solved this question assuming the assessee is not following. If he is not following 115 BSE, no, that's why he is getting this interest deduction. That's why the amount is negative here. Yes or no? In the same question you are going to solve at home today. Assuming that the assessee is following, then in that case, DLOP will not change. These 3 things will remain same. Understanding or not? What will change? All these 3 will become nil. No need to write all these things also. What you will do? Income from house property, nil. That's it. First table done. Second table, you know. Hello, sir. Now, can you create the options? What will be the first option? Come on, tell me. Nil, and 73,640. So what will be the income here? 73,640. First option, yes or no? Then second option, nil, and 176,840. What will be the final income? Done, sir. Now, here it will be nil, and it will be 2,19,000. Which is the best option? First. In that case, the income will be 73,640. Same question at your home. Today you are going to solve. Assuming that the assessee is following 115 BSE. Because you never know. Our institute is very smart. What the institute will say, you know, the students have solved the question without 115 BSE. If we will give the same question to them in the exam, no, we'll twist. What if the assessee is following 115 BSE? Why mistakenly they will be doing the same solution they have done at home? In the exam, they will commit a mistake. Getting my point? So both ways, try. And your mind should be always working that in this question, instead of this was there, what would have been my answer? Okay, this was not there, this was there, then what would have been my answer? If you have such kind of mindset, no, what will happen? You will have multiple type of questions from single question. Getting my point? So in the examination, no, your examiner will be never be able to put you in trouble. Put me in whatever trouble, I'll come out, because I have done every possible, solution at the time of preparing for the exam only. Getting my point? Now, this question you are solving. You are solving this question assuming that assessee has shifted out of default tax regime, meaning following 115 BSE or not following. Now, one solution will be like this. See the second solution. What would be Prem's income from house property under? So, first solve as per no 115 BSE. Final answer, done. Then again solve the same question as if he is following 115 BSE. Both ways we are going to solve. Don't worry. But you are going to solve as per 115 BSE and give me the answer. Come on. Shall we start? Pay attention. I'll read the question first. Prem owns a house in Madras, meaning Chennai. He is, during the previous year, 25-26, two-third portion of the house was self-occupied. How much is self-occupied? How much is self-occupied? And one-third portion was let out. Let out for meaning one-third is also SOP, no? Or it was let out. After letting out, the opposite party can dance in that property. None of my business. Hello? Opposite party is using for residence. None of my business. Am I letting out the property? Yes. For me, the property is LOP. Yes or no? Now see, at a rent of 8,000 per month. Now please pay attention. Municipal value of the property. Municipal value of one-third portion, municipal value of two-third portion, or municipal value of the property. Meaning for the entire property, municipal value is given. Fair rent is 2,70,000 per annum. And standard rent is 3,30,000. All these figures are given for the entire property. Will you divide these figures? Yes. Because the property is divided into one-third and two-third. So these figures will also be divided into one-third and two-third. Yes or no? He paid municipal taxes at 10% of municipal value. He paid. He paid means who paid? Prem only, no? Owner only, no? So will this municipal tax be allowed? Yes, but only from let out portion and not from self-occupied portion. Next one. A loan of rupees 25 lakhs was taken by him during the year 2021 for acquiring the property. When the loan was taken? 2021. For what? Purchase or construction. And not mentioning anything means the purchase would have been done immediately, not taking more than 5 years. Yes or no? Interest on loan paid during the year. Interest on loan paid during the previous year was 1,20,000. Now the loan was taken for two-third portion, loan was taken for one-third portion, or loan was taken for the property. And if the loan was taken for the property, this interest of 1,20,000 is for the entire property, no? This interest will also be divided. Yes or no? Now, compute Prem's income from house property for the assessment year 26-27, assuming that he exercised the option of shifting out of default tax regime. How will you present this? Come on, let's see. Name of the assessee and everything you are going to write. Okay? Can I write down? What was the? Okay. Two-third is SOP and one-third is LOP, no? So, one-third portion. What is the status of this one-third portion? LOP. This will be treated as my separate property and the income will be calculated separately. What about the two-third portion? That will also be treated as a separate property and the income will be calculated separately. Done, sir? Done, sir? Now one more column we'll make. One more column to write down the total amount. To write down the total amount. Of this total amount, one-third and two-third. Of this total amount, one-third and two-third. Getting my point? And one column for particulars. Now pay attention. We'll start with municipal value. Fair rent, whichever is higher. Higher amount compared with standard rent. Whichever is lower. Lower is equal to expected rent compared with actual rent. I will get GAV. Out of that GAV, I will reduce unrealized rent if any. Unrealized rent if any. So I will get final GAV. Out of that, I will reduce municipal tax. I will get NAV. Yes or no? Out of that, I will get deduction under 24A, 30%. Yes or no? And then what will be the second deduction? Interest on housing loan. The moment you will write this, now you just have to pick up the amounts, do one-third and two-third. That's it. Getting my point? The presentation will be like this. So tell me, what is the total amount of municipal value? Total amount. Total amount is 3 lakhs, no? Write down in the total column. Out of this, two-third is for SOP. That will be ignored. So one-third will be for LOP. 1 lakh you are going to write down here. Understanding what is happening? What is the fair rent? Fair rent was 2 lakh 70 and standard rent is 3 lakh 30, no? So this is 2 lakh 70. 2/3 will be ignored. And what is the balance? 90,000. Now please don't do any comparison in the total column. Comparison will happen for let out property only. Yes or no? Total amounts, just for the reference we are writing those amounts over there to do the 1/3 and 2/3. No comparisons will be made in total column. Yes or no? So what will be the higher amount? Come on, tell me. Here the higher amount is 1 lakh. Here it will be dash. Here it will be dash, and here it will be 1 lakh. Now what was the standard rent? 2/3 will be ignored, dash, and here it will be 1 lakh 10,000. Now whichever is lower, so here it will be dash, here it will be dash, and here it will be 1 lakh. Answer. What is the actual rent? Monthly rent is 8,000. For how many months the property was let out? If nothing is mentioned, the property is let out for the full year and there was no vacancy given in the question, so into 12. Don't write in the actual column. Sorry, don't write in the total column. We are not supposed to divide it. Entire actual rent relates to let out property. Yes or no? 96,000 I am going to write here. Are you understanding the presentation, guys? Now GAV will be dash, it will be nil here, and it will be 1 lakh. Why 1 lakh? Since there was no vacancy, expected rent or actual rent, whichever is higher, will be taken as GAV. Done, sir? So unrealized rent, if any, no unrealized rent, sir. No unrealized rent, sir. No unrealized rent. So what will be the final GAV? Final GAV will be nil and 1 lakh. What is the municipal tax? Come on, tell me. Municipal tax is 10% of municipal value, no? So what is the municipal value? 3 lakh. 10% of that will be 30,000. Out of that 30,000, 2/3 will be ignored because that is related to SOP. How much will be allowed? Only 10,000 from LOP. 1/3 will be allowed. Answer. So NAV will be dash. Here it will be nil and here it will be 90,000. Answer. 24A dash nil and 30% of 90,000 will be 27,000. Now how much was the interest? 1,20,000 was for the full property, no? Hello? Out of that 2/3, meaning 80,000 relates to SOP and the balance 40,000 relates to LOP. That 40 will be fully allowed. But what about the 80,000? 80,000 related to SOP will be allowed subject to a limit of 2 lakhs because the loan was taken in 21 on or after 1st April 99 for the purpose of purchase, and purchase is happening immediately only, no? So all the three conditions to take that 2 lakh rupees of limit is satisfied. So 80,000 or 2 lakh, whichever is lower, 80,000 will be fully allowed. Getting my point, sir? Now what is the final income? Negative 80 and here it will be 23,000. Can you add both of them? -57 negative. This will be loss under the head house property. This is the loss under the head house property. Difficult question or easy? No, made easy. Say thank you. So likewise, now all the questions were partly let out, partly self-occupied based on area is there, no? Your presentation will be same. Okay, no? But what will change, you know? What will change? This proportion will only change now. Somewhere it will be half, somewhere it will be 25%, 75%, somewhere it will be 1/3, 2/3. Yes or no? Only these proportions will change. Getting my point? Let's do one more question. One or two same questions, similar type. Let's do. 9th is done, huh? Till this is okay. This we have solved, assuming that 115 BSE is not fulfilled. Now in this same question, see, I'll keep the entire presentation same. What will you do? Pay attention. Sorry, huh? Sorry, guys. Copy, paste, paste. Now what I will do, see, I will assume that the assessee is following 115 BS. Is it going to affect my let out portion? Let out portion will remain same, no change. But only the self-occupied portion, no. This 80,000 interest which you are claiming will not be allowed. Will not be allowed. So what will be the final income here? Nil plus 23,000. It will be 23,000. Now it will be a loss taxable, a loss under the head house property. No, this is taxable income under the head house property. Everyone got this? Do it at home today. Next question. See, final income will be, income from house property will be 23,000. Yes or no? Okay. 10th question we'll do later. 11th question, no, that also, that requires co-ownership concept. Question number 2. Question number 2. Now I will not write down the things in format. You know the format, okay now? Mr. X owns one residential house in Mumbai. The house is having two identical units, meaning the house is divided into two equal parts, 1 by 2, 1 by 2. First unit is self-occupied and another unit is rented for 8,000 per month. The rented unit was, this time now, in your let out portion, they are bringing vacancy also. Do we know how to calculate income from a unit when there is a vacancy? Yes. That same logic we are supposed to apply here. Yes or no? Now, what are the particulars? Standard rent is given. See, they are saying that the particulars of the house, meaning given for one unit or for the full house. The full house is divided into two equal parts. We are supposed to divide this also into two equal parts. Yes or no? Municipal value is given, fair rent is also given, then municipal tax is also given, light and water charges. Is it your income or it is your expense? All the expenses are covered by 30%. Standard deduction will be allowed separately or will not be allowed? I will have to ignore this 500. Interest on borrowed capital, ignore, no? Or will consider 24B, yes or no? Lease money, ignore, because this is also an expense. Insurance charges, ignore. Repairs, ignore. So only this will be considered, yes or no? Now compute the income from house property if he exercise the option of shifting out. Shifting out means 115 BSc followed or not followed? Not followed. Okay. See, same type of presentation. Okay, no? First unit, half unit, let out. Half unit, self-occupied. Okay. So what is the total? Municipal value? 1,62,000. Hello? Half is? Oh, standard rent they have given first. Okay. Municipal value is 1,90,000. Divide by 2. Divide by 2. 95,000 here. And here it will be dash. Now, what is the fair rent? 1,85,000. 1,85,000. Can I say divide by 2 will be 92,500? 92,500 dash. Now tell me, higher amount. 95,000 dash dash. What is the standard rent? Divide by 2. 81,000 dash. Lower amount is 81,000 dash dash. Can I say this is expected rent? Now what was the actual rent? 8,000 per month, and the property is vacant for how many months? 2 months. So actual rent will be for 10 months. What is the monthly rent? 8,000 into 10 will be 80,000. So actual rent will be 80,000. Is my actual rent higher than expected rent? If it would have been higher or equal to, I would have taken the actual rent only. But since it is lower, than the expected rent, now I will have to add vacancy rent of 2 months. So what was the vacancy rent? 8,000 into 2, 16,000. 16,000 plus 80,000. Now the total is more than expected rent, no? If the total is more than expected rent, then actual rent is less because of vacancy. So what I will take as GAV? GAV will be 80,000. Done, sir? Dash. Here the GAV will be nil. Any unrealized rent? Any unrealized rent? No unrealized rent. Yes or no? So the final GAV will be 80,000 and nil. Is there any municipal tax? Municipal tax is 5%. 5% of 1,90,000. 4,750. Half of that. You calculated half only. 5% tell me. 5% of 1,90,000 macha. 5% of 1,90,000, how much? 9,000? 9,500. Half of that. 4,750. And here it will be nil. Calculate. NEV. That's 75. 250. This will be nil. Minus 30%. Dash. What is the 30%? 570. This will be nil. Please check the amount. Amount is correct, no? 22,575, correct? Minus interest. Interest was how much? Interest is 1,500 per month. How many months you have paid the interest? Property is let out for 10 months. That does not mean that the interest will also be for 10 months. Interest will be for full year, no? So into 12. Interest will be 1,500 into 12. Will be 18,000. 18,000 divided by 2. 9,000 fully from here and 9,000 fully from here. Why? Because the limit, whether you take 30,000 limit or you take 2 lakh rupees of limit, yes or no, 9,000 is lower. Getting my point? This will be negative 9,000. And what will be LOP income? 675. Add both of them. 670. Everyone got this? Let's check the answer. You see the final answer? Can you see the final answer? What is this? 35, 675. We have presented like this. The ICI has presented like this. Hello. First LOP, then SOP. What we have done? LOP, SOP, both the incomes we are adding. Whatever presentation you want, you can do that presentation. Getting my point? Shall we move ahead? What if in that same question 115 BSc is followed? This 9,000 will be ignored. Hello. And the final income will be 43,675 as we did in the last question. Done, sir? Question number 2 is done. Third question. Mr. Vikas owns a house whose municipal value, fair rent and standard rent are given. Okay. All the figures are per annum and the figures are given for the entire house. Yes or no? During the financial year 25-26, 1/3 of the portion of the house was let out for residential purpose. No. Let out. Stop here. Now, why the opposite party is using is none of my business. Have I let out the 1/3 portion? Yes. At a monthly rent of 5,000. Is it let out for the full year? Is it let out for the full year? Yes. There is no vacancy. The remaining 2/3 portion was self-occupied. Municipal tax 11% was paid during the year. Construction of the house began in June 2018 and was completed on 31st May 2021. Vikas took a loan of rupees 1 lakh on 1st July 2018 for construction of the building and he paid interest on loan 12% per annum and every month such interest was paid. Very good. Compute the income from house property of Mr. Vikas. See, if they are not telling you that the loan is repaid, meaning this 1 lakh rupees of loan will be outstanding during my previous year also. Yes or no? And this information they have given to calculate the pre-construction interest. Done, no? In this entire question, the catch is calculating the pre-construction interest, amount of interest, correct amount of interest. In the last 2 questions which we have solved, no, they have directly given the interest amount. But in this question, everything remains same. Only the interest calculation has to be perfect. Getting my point? So, pay attention. What was the municipal value? 1/3 portion is let out, no? Or 2/3 is let out? 1/3 LOP and 2/3 is self-occupied portion. How much is the municipal value? 96. 96 into 1 by 3. 32,000. Here it will be dash. What is the fair rent? 1,26,000 divided by 3. 42,000. This will be dash. So higher amount will be 42,000. This will be dash. What is the standard rent? 1,08,000 divided by 3. 36,000. This will be dash. Can I say now I will get expected rent? Expected rent will be 36,000. What is the actual rent? 12 into 5,000. Yes or no? It will be 60,000 in LOP portion, full amount. Okay. Was there any vacancy? No vacancy. So GAV will be 60,000. Any unrealized rent? No unrealized rent. So the final GAV will be 60,000. Yes or no, sir? Minus municipal tax. How much municipal tax is paid? Percentage, no? How much? 11%. 11% of 96,000. 10,560. Are you telling me the total? 1/3. 3,520. 3,520 dash. Now tell me, what is the NAV? NAV 56, and here it will be nil. Yes or no? Minus 30%. 16,944, and here it will be nil. You will not face any difficulty till here. Difficulty will be there in interest. So calculation of the interest. Let's see how much loan you have taken. Are they telling you that 1 lakh is repaid or any amount is repaid earlier? Meaning that the entire 1 lakh rupees of loan will be outstanding in my previous year also. On that, the normal interest will be calculated. What will be calculated? Normal interest. So normal interest is nothing but interest on the housing loan, which is outstanding during my previous year. So how much is outstanding? 1 lakh. On that, how much is the rate of interest? 12%. So what will be the interest? 12,000. Yes or no? Now in this, no, I will have to add 1/5 of pre-construction interest also. But for that, when my pre-construction period will start? Pre-construction period starts from date of borrowing. Have they given you date of borrowing? Yes. See, the loan was taken in June 2018. So can I say June 18 to March 19? Then April 19 to March 20. And then April 20 to March 21. I will stop at March 21. Why? Construction of the house began in 1st July 2018. 1st July 2018. Loan was taken on 1st July 2018. This is correct, no? Okay. Loan was taken in 1st July 2018. Okay. Construction started in June 18. Correct. Construction started in June 2018. Do I have to see when I have started the construction? No. I have to see when the loan was taken. Loan was taken on 1st July 2018. So from 18 to March 19, how many months? July to March. July to March, 9 months. This is 12 months. And this is 12 months. And wait, why am I taking till March 21? Because see, date of completion of construction is, this is DOCOC, date of completion of construction. So my pre-construction period will end on 31st March, immediately prior to this. So what will be the 31st March immediately prior to this? 31st March 2021. That is why I am stopping myself at March 2021. Yes or no? So tell me, 9 months, interest will be on 1 lakh. Interest will be on 1 lakh. Interest will be on 1 lakh. Yes or no? At what rate, sir? 12%, 12%, 12%. Tell me how much? For first 9 months. For first 9 months, it will be, wait, it will be 9,000. Done, no? Then 12,000. Then 12,000. Can I add all the three? What will be the total? 33,000. Can I say this is the total interest starting from date of borrowing ending on 31st March immediately preceding to DOC? Hello? So this is the total interest. Can I call this pre-construction interest? So now divide by 5. 6,000. I will start getting this 6,600 with effect from the previous year in which the construction is completed. When the construction was completed? Tell me. 21-22. Hello? Construction was completed in. So this 6,600 was allowed for the first time in the previous year, 21-22. Then 22-23. Then 23-24. Then 24-25. Then in my previous year, fifth and last installment will be allowed along with normal interest. Yes or no? So can I say 1/5 of pre-construction interest? That is 1/5 of 33,000. This is the fifth and final installment. Yes or no? 6,600. How much is the total interest? 18,600. Now 18,600 I will write down here. Out of that, 1/3 relates to LOP. So what is 1/3? 6,000, and balance is 12,000 will be related to my SOP, and out of SOP 12,400. 12,400 will be fully allowed because the limit will be 2 lakhs. Loan was taken on or after 1st April 99 for the purpose of purchase or construction, and construction also got completed within 5 years from the end of the year in which the loan was taken. All the 3 conditions are fulfilled, hence the limit will be taken as 2 lakh. So 12,400 or 2 lakhs, whichever is lower, 12,400. Getting my point? So the negative amount here will be 12,400, and positive will be how much? 33,336. Calculate total. 28. 20,000. Positive or negative? Where have you all committed mistake? Only in interest. And see, examiner will always know that this is the pain point. So they have exploited. Please don't commit mistake in calculating interest. Interest calculation most important in this question. Yes or no? Now let's check the final answer. What was the question? Question number 3. 20,936. Final answer. Yes or no? Now let's go to the next question. Question 3 is done. 4 later on. 5th and 7th. Okay, start 7th. Mr. Roy owns a house in Kolkata. During the previous year 25-26, 3/4 portion of the house was self-occupied and 1/4 portion was let out at a rent of rupees 12,000 per month. Tenant vacated the property on 28th February 2026. The property was vacant during March 26. Did you occupy or the property was vacant only? Yes or no? 1 month vacancy is there. Okay. Now, rent for the months of January and February could not be realized in spite of owner's efforts. All the conditions of Rule 4 are satisfied. Okay. Municipal value given, fair rent given, standard rent given. He paid municipal taxes at 10% of municipal value. Now see, loan of rupees 30 lakh was taken by him during the year 2018 for acquiring the property. Okay. Interest on loan paid during the previous year 25-26 was 1,51,000. Are you supposed to calculate pre-construction interest here? No. Only calculate this normal interest. You are not supposed to calculate that also because they have given the amount of interest directly. Compute Roy's income from house body. Very easy question. Very easy. See, how much is the let out portion? 1/3, no? 1/4. 1/4 is the let out portion. Can I say 3/4 is the self-occupied portion. Okay. Now, what was the municipal value? Municipal value 4,50,000. 1/4. 1,12,500. This is dash. What is the fair rent? 4,70,000. 1/4. 1,17,500. Dash. So higher amount will be 1,17,500. This is dash. This is dash. What is standard rent? 5 lakh. 1/4 is 1,25,000. This is dash. Okay. So now lower will be 1,17,500. This is dash. This is dash. This is expected rent. Now tell me, actual rent per month is how much? 12,000 multiplied by how many months? 11 months, because the let out period was 11 months. So actual rent will be 1,32,000. See, even if there is 1 month vacancy, even if there is, still the actual rent is higher than expected rent. No need to add vacancy rent. Hello, no need to add vacancy rent, because if the vacancy rent is added, then it will be more higher. Without adding vacancy rent, it is higher. If you will add vacancy, it will be still higher only, no? So take the actual rent only as GAV. That is 1,32,000 and dash. Minus any unrealized rent. 2 months rent could not be recovered. 11,000 into 2. Sorry, 12,000 into 2 will be 24,000. That is unrealized rent, right? So the final GAV will be 1,08,000 and here it will be nil. Any municipal tax? How much? Percentage. 10% of municipal value will be 45,000. 45,000 into 1/4. 11,250 and here it will be nil. Done, sir? So the final NAV will be 96,750 and here it is nil. Minus 30% standard deduction. 025. Okay. Here it is nil. Interest they have given, or I have to calculate? How much interest? 1,51,000. 1/4. 750. And here 1,13,000 will be allowed subject to a limit of 2 lakhs. Fully allowed. Getting my point? Now tell me how much? 970 and it will be negative 1,13,250. Done, no? Calculate the total. 83,275. Positive or negative? So this will be loss. This will be loss under the head house property. Done. Let's check the final answer. Question number 7, no? 83,275. We also got 83,275. Are you getting some confidence in the questions? In every question, no, there is a specific part where you are committing mistakes. Okay? Don't commit those mistakes. Identify those mistakes and mark right now only. Because this is the correct time to mark those things where you are committing mistakes. Getting my point? And later on when you will revise, then at that time you are not supposed to do the entire thing again. You just have to focus on your mistakes. Revisions will be super quick. Getting my point? Hello. So now see, today we'll stop here. Okay. Next lecture, whenever I'm having your next lecture, that time I'll continue from here. Hello, sir. And maybe we are meeting next time in the next month only, because I'm leaving today. Oh, I'll miss you all. Will you all miss me? So I hope that I'm alive till the time I visit you for the next time. Okay. And keep on studying. And whenever we are meeting for the next time, please promise me that you will revise the things and come. Sure? See you all tomorrow? No, not tomorrow. In my next lecture. Bye bye. Bye everyone.